All right, Nick, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. This is a team that we have really loved from day one. The turnaround this team has done with Geno Smith at the helm has been nothing short of incredible. But we have a story today about a key player in particular, Nick, that I think Seattle Seahawks fans will get really, really excited about. His praises have been sung from day one, but they are getting sung even louder now.
Yeah, Miles. Look, the Seattle Seahawks were a good team last year. They appear to be on their way to being a great team. This new Seattle Seahawk that they've added to the roster appears to be a key piece going forward. But before we get into that report, Seahawks fans got an interesting question for you to answer today, as always in the comment section below. Throughout the history of the Seattle Seahawks, what's one player that played for this team that you'd love to take out to lunch, take out to dinner, maybe out for a drink, and just talk football for a little bit? A guy you really want to pick his brain, just see his reaction, talk ball for a little bit. Give us your guy, your Seattle Seahawk that you'd love to take out and just talk ball in the comment section below. All right, Miles, what you got? What's this latest update out of Seattle?
Yeah, Nick, we know Seattle Seahawks have looked dangerous the last couple of seasons, especially last season. There's a noticeable improvement when Geno Smith took over this team. This offense got very efficient, but I think there's even more reason for them to get excited this season. We're talking about none other than rookie wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. This guy was a bona fide playmaker in college, and I think his praises are being sung by the other top dog on the receiver realm of the Seattle Seahawks. We're talking about DK Metcalf has come out and spoken about how happy he is that Jackson Smith-Njigba is on this team. I'm going to get into the article here, Nick, and then we can talk about what this means for the Seahawks. But it says DK Metcalf does not seem bothered by potentially having to share the spotlight with Smith-Njigba. In fact, he seems elated by the fact Metcalf hyped up his rookie teammate Tuesday during an interview with NFL Network's Taylor Biscotti before highlighting the Seattle Seahawks' whole arsenal of offensive weapons. I mean, the type of person he is first, Metcalf said of Njigba. He's a great dude, and on the field, he is a great route runner, and he has excellent hands. So I think he's going to open the offense even more. He and Zach Charbonnet are going to do, amazing things. At the running back position, also, Ken Walker will do good as well. We have a whole arsenal of weapons on offense. Also, adding Bobby Wagner to the backside of the defense gives us a bona fide leader. This is a whole team. So, Nick, I think that this obviously was from over on Bleacher Report, and I love what Metcalf said. This team seems loaded on all sides, but we're going to focus today on that receiver room, specifically on Njigba, because I think that he brings a ton to this team, who is already talented in its own right. Lockett and Metcalf both went for over 1,000 yards last year. Kenneth Walker also rushed for 1,000+ yards last year. Adding a guy like Smith-Njigba to this team, I think is going to take it to another level. What do you think about this, Nick?
Yeah, Miles, I think the Seahawks have essentially become unstoppable if Njigba can live up to this hype. And there's no reason to think he can. He's from Ohio State, was extremely talented. We watched the Rose Bowl game against Utah, I believe, where he single-handedly won the game for Ohio State, thinking like 400 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. It was an unreal performance from him. And of course, the fact that he's already winning over his receiver teammates is a great sign, because that's always is kind of an issue, especially with receivers when you add new guys into the fold. How are they going to get along? How are they going to gel? How are they going to get in the rhythm and the timing and things like that? Because, one of the things you hear a lot in the NFL is about getting the quarterback and receiver on the same page. It's just as important to get all the receivers on the same page. They all have to be in the same timing and cadence with all their different route combinations that are all running at the same time. And the fact that Metcalf is coming out and saying such good things about Smith-Njigba and that he expects him to be a good player for this offense makes me think that they're already on schedule or even ahead of schedule. And look, a Seahawks team with this level of weapons, if they're all on the same page, it's just going to be brutally tough for people to stop. And I think this is kind of interesting, Miles, because we're hearing a lot, and right now as we get into the month of July and a lot of hype going on for the 2023 season, we're hearing a lot about the Detroit Lions as an up-and-coming team. Heck, we're hearing a lot about Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. We're hearing about how the 49ers are going to be good and the Eagles are going to be good. We're hearing about the Cowboys. We're hearing about the Falcons and Desmond Ridder. We're hearing about the Saints and all that kind of stuff. We're not hearing about the Seahawks. This was a playoff team last year. This was a team that actually gave the 49ers in San Francisco a really good run for their money for a little bit. You add a couple key players, especially Smith-Njigba on offense. You add in Bobby Wagner on this defense. This team could be significantly, and I think they will be significantly better in 2023. I think the rest of the NFC should look out, because this is a team that's going to make a lot of noise. This is not just a playoff team, Miles. I think this is a team that has the ability to make a deep playoff push.
Yeah, Nick, I think, like you said, this is a team headed for the playoffs. They're almost there last year. I think this team, they can make
No, they made it.
Well, yeah, they're going to actually make a run in the playoffs, though, this year. I think this is a team primed to get there as far as this is a contender in a, I would say, arguably weak NFC. There's
It
not
is.
that many teams that can be better than the Seahawks, I would say. They definitely have a shot at winning their division. Obviously, the 49ers are talented, but who's going to be the quarterback? That's really the question there. And are they going to be able to be healthy? That's really a question there. That's a huge one. I think Seattle has proved they have health on their side. They have longevity. They have a lot of talent around the ball, just as much as anyone else in the NFC. So I think they have a really good shot to make a deep playoff push.